Yo, people always ask me what kind of frames I'm rocking. I've been rocking Caddis for a couple years. They make amazing progressive readers, which I wear. Also, they make sunglass readers, anti-glare, anti-smudge coating, anti-scratch, and anti-aging. That's why I look mad young when I wear them. I'm just kidding. But they make amazing frames. Caddis, so stoked to have you guys part of the podcast. You can go to caddislife.com/Toby10 and get $10 off your first purchase. Stoked. Thank you, Caddis. Welcome to the fam. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. They have now blessed me with my own code. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst. Stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives. Welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. To the right of me, I have my brother from another mother back on the podcast, Mr. Derek Green, Separator in the house.
What's up? In the house.
Thank you for being here. And then sitting across from me, my friend I haven't seen in a very long time. I really appreciate you being here today. Patty Schemel.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. And me and Derek are such pros. Your documentary was 10 years old, but we watched it last night. Hit so hard.
It's 10 years old?
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Shit goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Obviously, we did some deep dives on you. I'm sure you're sick of talking about yourself. But thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm so into Derek's voice right now.
It's
thank you so
it's
much.
good. Yeah.
It's
I'm
mesmerizing.
going to be shy the whole time.
It's versatile.
And you listen to a lot of podcasts. Have you heard a voice like that before?
Never.
Not yet.
You got a voice for radio.
Yeah.
It's good to hear, but
You got a face for TV too.
Thank you. So thank you.
So how are you, Patty? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
You're
doing
alive.
good.
You here?
Yeah, I'm alive. I'm here, and gonna get maybe my booster. Soon.
Oh, soon.
Getting
Okay.
a booster.
A booster
So
chair?
you survived the COVID pandemic so far.
Yes, and daughter is getting she's 11.
Wow.
Getting the second vax on.
11
coming
years
week.
old.
Yeah,
It's
they
amazing.
can have children,
Mm-hmm.
but it's she on the first one she was like out after it,
Plain.
like
Right.
knocked her out.
I can imagine.
Put her
Tough
down.
stuff.
Yeah.
Tough stuff. Right off the top, let's go straight for the
Yeah.
straight for the. Let's talk about that plague.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
They were in right now, but and that was the
God.
new Omicron. Omicron coming.
Oh, I know.
Omicron.
Yeah.
It's like a Transformer
Yeah,
vibe or
damn it.
something.
It definitely
Yeah.
has that vibe
Jeez.
about it.
Where do they come up with the names? Is there a room?
I think that's a pretty badass
Yeah.
one, to tell you
It
the
is pretty
truth.
cool.
I mean, I've seen them going around the internet. There's
Yeah.
all sorts of
There's some memes.
Yeah.
animation they've drawn up with it. It's pretty cool.
And how do you pronounce it?
Omicron. right?
Omicron.
I think
You
it's
probably say it scarier. Go ahead.
Omicron.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, who does come up with the names? That's really interesting.
I think I did a little background check on where they came up with that, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. It was quite interesting.
It just spreads faster. It's not stronger. It's not more deadlier.
They don't know anything right now,
Okay.
to tell
Yeah.
you the truth, Toby.
Okay.
It's too early to tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the information. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just stay off the top that I'm a big fan of the podcast?
Thank you.
And I loved the Fat Mike episode, and
Thank you.
the Nate Albert one was so good.
I know all the different artists that he works with.
I know.
You were out of town, but you weren't
But
here for that.
Okay.
Nate.
All those old the beginning of the Boss Tones, like I'm a
Yeah.
big fan.
Me too.
And those stories about the beginning of the Boss Tones and how was Nate's brother is on the cover of the SSD record.
Yes.
The kids will have their say where they're
Yeah,
going up the
go up the
stairs.
steps.
It's amazing.
I
Yeah.
love that
Iconic
kind of
photo.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like finding the weekend and being involved in like all
Yeah.
kinds of pop
I gotta
music.
check it out. I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, no, you weren't. I forgot
Oh,
where you
thanks,
were.
man. That's cool.
Sorry.
What I loved about that talk and then the Fat Mike is that these are two really brilliant, successful guys that created, like marketed and built their bands and did
Yeah.
it without, Boss Tones got on a major, but like Fat Mike, like built his band. You can do, actually, it is possible to not sign to a major
know, he's
and
living
be
proof.
successful. Yeah.
Oh man, that was one thing that was really really impressive. Like, Fat Records and No Effects' career and no
Yeah.
major label, nothing. No help from anyone. Sure, they had some video play here and there and stuff like that, but like just his own way, his own rules the whole time, like Ian MacKaye style.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Same
love that.
way. It's
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, and
amazing.
Ian like doesn't really care about like big houses,
No.
et cetera, et cetera. Maybe Fat Mike a little bit. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know.
been through that,
which
yeah.
is not a thing. But like, there's two different kind of situations there, and it's interesting. But it's cool that like they just toured and like came up with ideas for, let's do it like this, let's do
I
that.
know, man.
Like marketing, smart.
Right.
Yeah,
Guys.
he's really smart.
Yeah, believing in their ideas. You
Yeah.
know, it's really
But like not worried about getting permission from somebody, just doing
Right.
it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like
believing
super
in
DIY.
themselves. Right. Yeah.
And then Nate going to market like business school at Brown.
Like and like after all the success of the Boss Tone, still
Yeah.
grinding and doing something
Right.
else, like not just being comfortable. You know what I mean?
I admire that, you know,
Me
like
too,
especially
man.
when I heard, like, for example, the singer from Iron Maiden, you know, how he's part of this airline company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
Flying,
pilot.
he's a serious. He can fly 747.
Yeah.
For
Fucking
God's
nuts, man.
sakes, he's
Doesn't
just
he have
like
a plane?
Iron Maiden's my side gig.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, you need a lot of hours of flying to be able to fly 747, their own plane.
Yeah, it's no
Yeah.
joke.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And he's all over the stage. Like he
Yes.
still
Yeah.
to the
Is
stage.
he 60?
He's definitely got to be.
He goes off like a
Yeah.
hardcore singer. Like he
Yes,
goes off. Like
he goes
stamina.
off. Like I'm really, really impressed.
And don't they have a plane with Eddie on it?
Yeah, that's the one he
monster?
can fly. Like,
Yes.
That's
yes.
badass, man.
Imagine that. You know, I talked to some people that were working in that crew, and I was like, I bet there's like people partying. He's like, absolutely not. He's like, it's
All
like
pro.
all pro.
Yeah, don't fuck
Yeah.
around.
Wow.
And if you are partying, then see you later.
Do those guys
Yeah.
party still, you think?
No,
Okay.
not really. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, I think
Not even Nico?
maybe Nico.
Maybe Nico.
Maybe Nico. Just a little bit. I'm not going to confirm
Yeah.
that, but I'm almost certain that Bruce is, you know, straight edge almost.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Yeah.
Very, they take it, they're very professional. You know, those older guys have started to really be into health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the coolest thing now,
Yeah.
to be, you know, like not a broken down punk rocker.
That was what was going on in 93 when I went to Brazil for Rock in Rio. I went with just hang out with Nirvana,
Right.
and Alice in Chains
No
was
big deal.
there. Alice in Chains was there, and L7
Yeah.
and Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Sick lineup.
and I can't remember who else, but so we're all traveling. We traveled between, it's Sao Paulo and
Yeah, and Rio.
Rio, and everybody else was so fucked up, and like you can get everything there, well, cocaine mostly,
most.
and
Probably good cocaine too, right?
I've heard that
tons.
it's
From Colombia,
incredible.
that
Yeah.
comes through,
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
very close to the source.
Yes, precisely. And I remember the guys in the Red Hot Chili Peppers just, waking up early the next day and going out and, getting exercise and just fresh faced,
Right.
straight edge, sober guys. And I was like, ugh, I need something. And we were at some kind of like party at some bar, and I was fucked up, and then Flea was sober and sits down. He's like, hey, and I'm like, hi, we're talking, and he was really cool, but like hanging out, even though he didn't drink or do. But
was
yeah, I
hanging,
remember
yeah.
those guys were like total fitness. And
yeah.
but I remember that moment just because it was such a moment where in my mind I was like, you don't have to feel like this,
Right.
you can, they're playing music and doing their thing, and they're sober, and they, it's possible.
Yeah.
But then that didn't stop me. Like I didn't go home. I
Right.
lasted a few more years.
Yeah.
Not done. Okay.
Even Anthony Kiedis, he's been up. He's probably sober now, but back then he was kind of wilding out a
Yeah.
little bit too, right?
Yeah.
He had that crazy Iggy Pop body forever still.
Yes.
Even when I saw him perform recently on maybe the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too, I think. Yeah,
Probably.
they were.
Yeah,
they were.
I'm sure they
Shirt off, same
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah, and he's got that great Native American tattoo
Yeah.
on his back in that one video. Remember when he's running in Hollywood? And I remember, I'm as gay as
Yeah.
it gets, but I saw that video and I got confused. I was like slightly attracted in a weird way. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
wait a minute. And then I came back and I was
but
like,
he seemed
okay.
like somebody who maintained on that crazy lifestyle and still performing, like you maintain a profession, still being addicted
True.
to stuff too as well.
True.
As well as you did. You know what I
but
mean?
it's not,
Not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying.
no. But like I'm sure, getting to Brazil wasn't, it's probably like there were already problems. There was problems with like, Lane Staley.
What year was this?
This was 93.
That's no
Okay,
joke.
yeah.
93 in South America.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like Lane had
Oh yeah.
his, personal
Right.
dealer fly in, Maria.
Wow.
And we, everybody partook.
Wow.
And yeah. So
Flying in. Wow.
Yeah, flying in, bro. That happens with
that's scary right
That's
there.
really
Smuggling from different places. Because when you're strung out and, you're always like, well, I'll quit before I go on tour, and you don't.
Right.
And then you are on to, then you got to go. So you think you're going to bring enough to last. And it's like, oh no, it's gone in a day. And then there you are.
Damn.
Stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be an instant locked up abroad story. Happen.
Oh,
Right.
that show's scary.
Yes, I watch it
You
a
do?
lot
I
just
watch
because
it
I'm like,
too much.
I know the feeling,
Yeah.
and because I did it.
Yeah.
Oh.
How many years sober now for you?
Let's see, I'll be 17.
Wow.
March.
Yeah.
It's
'cause
fucking
crazy.
amazing, man. It's amazing.
yes.
It's
That's
so yeah,
amazing.
just like all the deep diving and the documentary is so everything you've been through. It's incredible. It's like you're here right now and you're healthy,
Thanks.
you're alive.
Yeah,
Fuck, man.
yeah, and people say, well, how do you do it? Is there a and there is no thing.
Right.
It's just that I always wonder why I could and somebody that I love so much couldn't.
Yeah.
Where their choice was, I don't want to, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to kill myself. And no offense, I don't take,
Right.
I'm not judging at all, because I understand if that struggle is too hard, you don't see yourself as a person that can live without it, because
Yeah.
it's a chemical thing,
Yeah.
and that's your choice, then, that's your choice.
Yeah, like even after like Kurt and Kristen died,
Yeah.
you still were wiling out. Still.
Yeah, yeah,
Probably
I
even
mean,
more then.
Yeah, I mean, it was a moment of pause, right? And then you go to your first rehab and you learn what it's all about, like all the what addiction is, and and I kind of knew in a way, because my parents were alcoholics, so I kind of knew
Yeah.
in recovery. So, but it wasn't stopping
Were they in
me.
the program?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I grew up
It's in the
in
doc,
it.
man.
Someone didn't take notes. So.
Yeah.
No,
I
no,
didn't take notes.
Not a big deal.
I have my notes. Okay.
No, but like, so, I always knew, I always thought to myself, well, I'm different, I always thought, when I was a kid, I thought my parents drank because they were from New York and it's scary and it's city-ish there. And, so, it's like, what? Like whiskey, I don't know. Yeah, and so, so, yeah. And I just did, I started out doing, alcohol, and then you're all constantly searching, and then you arrive at heroin, it just like, whatever.
I mean, you started drinking like what, 11 to 12?
Yeah.
11, 12 years
Yeah,
old, right?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember being like having this surge of energy, but anger, and not knowing where to put that. And then drums helped a lot.
Yeah.
And then punk rock helped a lot to
Yeah.
go to shows and like push people and then feel people push me. And then all that, in that
Yeah.
situation it felt good.
Yeah. How old were you when you went to your first show?
Like 14,
Wow.
I think. Yeah.
You remember what show that was?
Maybe Meatmen. It was a weird
Wow.
one. It was a
With
weird
the
one.
Meatmen, you suck.
I know.
Meatmen is so
Yeah.
I
that's
don't
a
even
good
know if that band could survive
I know.
today.
I know.
Like I did a deep dive on Meatmen before because I was like, why was I such a fan of
were
this
a fan?
band? Yo, Brian Baker played in the Meatmen as
Yes.
well.
Oh, shit,
I
I
don't know
didn't
if you
know
knew
that.
that.
Did
Check
not
your
know
notes, kid.
Yeah, but don't ask. I know.
No.
But don't ask me on trivia because, I thought Franz Stahl was in Stalag 13.
We had to check that before the
I
pod.
was like, yo, are you serious?
Wait a minute.
But yeah, the Meatmen. Wow.
Yeah.
They had a lot of insane songs.
Yeah. Yes.
Just the titles alone were just like,
And
oh.
it wasn't like a Meat Men show. It was just like, we're going to do a show, and you just
Okay.
go, you know.
And what were your
And then
impressions? of
Ramones, I
being there?
made probably first.
Okay, all right.
Great one.
At the
Hey.
at the not the Cuckoo's Nest. I almost said no. There's the Hub Ballroom and the Eagles Hippodrome. That's it.
Cuckoo's Nest. That's a classic spot.
Yeah,
though.
it is.
Classic.
And then you got arrested at DOA show.
Yeah.
What
Got
were you
arrested
doing?
in the park, drinking beer,
Man, God.
taking a moment to go outside, and fastbacks were playing, and after that I went outside and drank beer, and I love the fastback. And it just being mouthy and stuff, and
Yeah. Rebellious.
Yeah, and there was such a focus on this particular club because there were no all ages clubs in Seattle.
Right.
And there was an ordinance about the teen dance ordinance where you couldn't dance at a certain age or move around. Like, I know it was,
Wow, it was like a Footloose
it's totally
style.
a footloose situation. And so there was like police everywhere, undercover police. Yeah.
I see him moving his
Total-
feet there.
And so you underage drinker.
Yeah.
Wow. So you get arrested. Your parents freak out.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah. She had to go pick me up.
This is a one-way track.
Yeah. You know, me and your father. No, I think it was quiet in the car. It was really quiet.
Were they cool about you going to punk shows at that age?
Yeah, I remember my dad was like, "You can go, maybe take some pictures or something." Like I had to do something.
I love that.
Artistic.
Take
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, I remember. Taking some pictures.
And
That's great.
Yeah.
Though. I wish
so
I would have
supportive.
done that.
Yeah.
In that time, like I was
Yeah.
like, oh, pictures are, take your soul.
what do you mean?
I was like, I don't have any pictures of me like
Yeah.
really young, like in that teenage phase,
Uh-huh.
because I was so like rebellious. I was like, no, can't take a
Yeah.
photo of me, bruh. What are you doing?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Idiot.
So you got into music and everything in
Yeah.
school. How were you in school?
Average. As soon as I discovered drums, it was just drums. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
And drinking and punk rock.
Drums and
Yeah.
drinking and punk rock.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And then I got into, I started playing music and playing in bands and going to Seattle.
And your brother, the same. He was a
Yeah.
guitarist.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Yeah. And before he started playing guitar, he did art. So he did a lot of our flyers.
cool.
And one of them, I was in this punk rock band called The Primitives. It was three guys and me. I think there was you guys saw that.
Yeah,
in
we
the-
Yeah.
And we had a show in Mount Vernon at a skate ramp with False Liberty, which was the only,
I might have heard that.
and
name of that band.
Diddly Squat. The False Liberty was the first of note straight edge band with Greg Anderson, who went on to start Southern Lord
Okay.
Records, and he's like, he was our offering of straight edge,
Really?
because Seattle, you don't really think
No, I don't think
at all.
At all.
There was
Yeah.
no scene. Then there was that and Diddly Squat, Christ on a Crutch, Under
Christ
Oath.
on a
Crutch, yeah.
Under Oath is
Like,
another
yeah.
one.
Accused.
Yes, but they are not straight edge.
I know they're
Under Oath,
definitely
though.
not straight edge.
Yeah, I saw The Accused, I'd say 1 billion times.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm a big fan.
And me too. And weird that, I don't know why they talk about The Accused in a straight edge adjacent. Is it? Because
Yeah.
I've read, maybe they play together with other,
Maybe.
I don't know. But I noticed like New York hardcore kind of has a metal vibe to it.
Totally.
Yes, definitely.
Crossover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the crossover.
Harder
Yeah.
edge to it. Yeah. For
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
different.
later on, when it moved down a little bit further, it got more into that.
That was because of
But it was-
DRI. I
yeah,
think,
I
right?
mean, all of that was like kind of crossing over that time period. I think, especially
Nazi
DRI
Front.
like set it off.
Right.
With, like, like
And
you
that
could
was
hear those
okay.
elements.
You guys were cool with that, or you're more into
I mean,
youth of today?
I'm more
which was-
I'm more like Youth of Today.
Yeah.
Gorilla Biscuits. They had Melody.
Yeah.
Dag Nasty. 7 Seconds, one of my favorite bands of
Me
all
too.
time. The Melody,
Yeah,
I was more of a
that's-
melody guy. I was
Me
never
too.
a metal
Yeah.
guy. So when I moved to New York and I was coming from the DC area, which was so melodic and so emotional, emo time, to New York was just kind of abrasive for me. But I liked it. You know what I mean? Like I never liked Metallica. I never liked the metal bands growing up. Later on in life, I appreciate them now. But then I was just melody for me, you know?
No, I was the same. I was I was close with the metal type sound and everything because I couldn't really relate to lyrically.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
But then I don't know, something happened with like Metallica. Like it was like the visuals. I was like, these guys look kind of cool. They have like Misfits patch.
Right,
that's
right.
cool.
They'll
Stuff, and I was
blend
like,
that blending of.
And then I just like heard it and I was like, oh my, this production is incredible. I was like, these guys are like really taking their instruments seriously and playing. And I was like, whoa. And then it just kind of like that merge of like Agnostic Front getting like some crazy players. I was like, okay, that's cool. But then there was like losing a little bit of like that, I don't know, attitude of just like whatever, like fuck it, we're gonna just play. And I miss.
People got more serious about playing.
Yeah.
Sounding tighter bums you out.
No, not bummed me out, but it just
Maybe
it
a
just
pro
different.
attitude or something?
I don't know. I guess it just kind of changed my mind. I was like, oh yeah, these people are changing. Now that I am, a musician and playing a lot, I'm like, they were growing. They're changing. Things are happening in their lives.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to change, with that or not, but it started to become a little more understanding. And then I started to open up a little bit more. Like I do like this metal sound, It was getting a little bit boring for me with the same riffs, like here comes the breakdown. Here comes this part. I know what's coming up next. No surprise, it's cool, but a little bit more.
I thought skate rock was kind of cool.
That
Too.
was
Like
so
JFA
cool.
was a skate rock.
Big Boys.
There was some
You're
melody
naming
in there.
my playlist right now.
I know
This is what
Mick
still
Rad, The
listen to.
Faction.
Oh, and a faction. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Steve Caballero.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah,
I
he's the
love
best.
him.
He's the best.
It was a game changer.
I don't know him personally, but I remember being at the Warped Tour and he was in line to eat some food, and I was behind him, and that's all. That's all I got.
He's a sweetheart.
He's awesome.
We're lucky to know him and skate with
Yeah.
him. He's awesome.
Such a cool guy.
Derek
Yeah.
broke his ankle at his ramp a couple months ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, it's all right, man. It's just like, I was like, they're gonna need to fly a helicopter in here, man. I'm so
I know.
embarrassed,
At least it happened at Cab's ramp. It's kind of cool.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, and then I just put it off like, no, it's good, it's good. And they're like, yeah, it's spring, bro. And I was like, this shit's broken. Like in my head, I was like, it's so broken.
Were you like, I'm just gonna be cool?
Yeah, I was like cool eating at the barbecue for
you
God's
should have
sakes. I
had
was
some
having
calf
burgers.
calves on. A
Yeah.
little protection.
Should have.
Yeah, so the skate rock stuff, seeing those ads in Thrasher magazine,
Yes.
all those, oh man, it was a game changer too.
Yeah.
And hearing those songs in the Bones Brigade videos.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you
that
guys
stuff.
skate when you were kids?
Hell yeah.
Oh my
Still
God,
skate.
every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. My son skates. I skate. I'm more of a ramp guy. My son's a street guy. I've always skated half pipes growing up. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, it was an integral part of growing up. That's.
came
I mean,
hand
I
in
think
hand.
I think that I was so obsessed with it. I never did drugs or drink at all. Just natural. I was just like, I'm going out.
That was my
and just
natural
out
high.
all day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a super high. Like, let's
too.
just stay here all night until we get this trick done. Just like
Yeah.
over and listening to music.
I never like put East Coast and skating together. I know. I
No, I
I
hear
was always
you.
West Coast, sunshine.
I hear you on that.
all
True,
that Tony
true.
Hawk and McTwisting.
Yeah.
Man, it changed the game. I mean, so much from LA. It's had such a big influence in the world.
Yeah.
It was
That
skating,
attitude.
punk rock,
Right.
that attitude.
Yeah.
Music. I mean, massive
Like
influence.
that, the whole thing of like a being from the Northwest in Seattle, and then seeing like one of those videos of like an Agent Orange playing at like a skate competition or just a skate thing. It was like the coolest
So cool.
True.
thing, and so far away from where I was from,
Right,
in the
yeah.
rain and
Yeah.
darkness.
Oh man,
I forgot about Agent Orange, man. Wow.
I love the
Such melodies, underrated.
Yeah.
Like, nobody really talks about Agent Orange. Like, dude,
Fire in the Rain, bro.
yeah, those records are great. Great
I
soundtracks,
saw
too.
them in Scream.
Okay,
It's
yes.
like Scream
that's a great
opened up for
combo.
Agent Orange, and I was like, wow.
So, were you born in Washington or was it Los Angeles? Or
No, you're
I
born in
was
LA.
born in Long Beach,
oh, okay, that's
Crazy.
what I thought.
OBC.
but I was there for maybe 6 months as a baby, and then parents moved to.
But your parents are from Brooklyn, so how would
Yeah.
they end up getting out here? Like, how
They both met each other, and then decided to get out of New York, and
Wow.
they got one of those VW bus
awesome.
vans, and then did the whole cross country thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and my
I love
brother
that.
was born up there.
Wow. Interesting.
So Long Beach first.
Yes. Yes.
Was that for a job or something?
Maybe. I think they just were like, they both thought, oh, let's go to California, you know?
Yeah. then how did you end up in Washington? What?
I think there was some like work, some
Yeah.
kind of Boeing issue or something like that.
Boeing.
Like
yeah,
going there.
That makes sense.
And
Big company.
so, yeah, grew up there. And
yeah.
and Seattle wasn't a place to be like, you know, playing drums, being a musician. It was all like metal.
Right.
You didn't really, you know, like no bands really came through, really. Like just Rush and Van Halen, like big bands, you know? And like you didn't really think, you know, it wasn't like, you didn't really think you'd ever like be successful in music being from there, you know?
It's crazy how like that whole wave just blew up.
Yeah.
It's fucking
it
nuts,
came.
man.
I didn't see it coming.
Band after
I
band.
didn't.
But the thing is, it was the timing, which just seemed like it was perfect for it, because coming out of that age of
The 80s.
the 80s, which I love, but it was like the end of the 80s, just like, wow, you know, where is this gonna go? And it was just like such a weird time period.
Yeah, and metal.
And metal,
Stuff. Like
metal was
shiny
huge.
metal.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then there's those, you know, it becomes huge, and then there's the labels, you know, buying
Sucking
up all this
everything,
and then it becomes bands like, you know, then they're Candlebox, no offense, but they're like not from Seattle, or they're from wherever. But like in your situation, like let's say that in your scene, okay, and then you know. Well, there's those bands like Candlebox, right? Like everybody, you know, like would you think of or say a band that you were like,
Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting about Candlebox, quick story, is that Guy Osseri, Maverick Records.
Right.
He was A&R for that band.
Okay.
They had Freddie DeMann, Madonna's manager, and Guy came to see H2O at a Blackout showcase at CBGB's.
Okay.
They were interested in H2O for some weird reason. Came to see us play. Saw the show. We had a great show at CB's. And then like the following Monday or something, they got a message from a lawyer that they chose another band who was, you know, had they were rock, they were hard, but they were also radio friendly, and it was Candlebox.
Wow.
Not that they picked them over us, but they were searching for like a melodic, harder edge band.
Yeah,
they were
it's like
searching.
they checked all the things, and then it's like you're not even like back in the day, I was probably a little bit more angry about it, but still, these days I'm like, you know, like just sort of like. Psst. Yeah. It just like you're not from my scene, you know, or whatever.
No, totally.
Just not real.
I always thought about that one, like like the major label. No, I don't say that word because I was in a major label. Like the bigger rock bands.
Yeah.
We're gonna go play a show at CBGB's, and MTV's gonna film it.
Yeah.
First time at CB's.
Yeah.
And it's like not the normal CB's crowd. It's like
the labels were just like sucking the life out of anywhere they could find. It was just so ridiculous, though. They were like, "We got the money, and we're gonna do it," you know. And then CDs came about, and they're like, "Now we're making crazy money," because everyone was trying to like revamp their record collection. Like, I'm getting rid of these records and getting CDs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. And then it cut to my house like 2 weeks ago, and there's like 8. You know, giant boxes of CDs, and I'm calling 1-800, you know, U-Haul junk. Come over. They back the truck, and like I've been carrying these things around, and I just got rid of. I went through, and then like just got rid of everything.
Damn.
I'm like,
It's got to be a good feeling.
getting rid of all of it, like because now it can just exist. And I mean, I'm done with collecting the vinyl.
you have vinyl, you have a lot of vinyl.
Not anymore.
Okay.
No.
We used to have a lot of stuff though.
Yeah. And now I just, you know, sell that I sold that professional single, you know, the one with that's such a great song. You know, the one it's a poppy banger. The Professionals. Come on. What is it?
The name.
It's called anyway.
Okay.
Starlog 13.
You know what's crazy is you had that suitcase full of all the videos, and that's what made the doc. It's crazy you held on to that for so long.
Yeah. And the weird part is that I even have anything because, you know, storage space homeless.
Yeah.
And then you just lose track of stuff, and then, you know, some stuff was gone, and, you know, that was what was left.
Yeah. So I want to rewind a little bit. So school, you graduated from school?
Yeah.
And what was your goals at that point?
Straight
to
out
play
of high school.
Just
to
music.
play
Were you
drum,
Milkbone too?
Yeah, that was my, we were
and your
kind of like
brother?
not Larry, but and then after that it was Milkbones was my, like, we were kind of like a surf band.
Cool.
You know?
Nice.
You know,
Right.
like play it, in the cafeteria at school. And,
Wow.
But there were no punk rockers at school, so they thought
Yeah.
we were weird.
Yeah, you
get
saying that, and the two members of the other band would get beat up and stuff because you
Yeah.
lived like in a cow town, like
Yeah,
some
yeah.
hick town or something.
Yeah, they just wanted, like, because they thought we were weirdos, and then
Yeah.
you hit weird things and get rid of them,
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and then it was moved to Seattle, and started playing drums in different bands. You kind of
Yeah.
like just try out different things and sort of explore. And
Man, you played in a lot of bands.
I know.
Yeah.
And how far is Seattle too from where you live?
it was like 45 minutes, not
Okay.
far.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of bands. I mean, I have a fucking so many bands. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, before you got to Hole, I mean, Doll Squad too.
Yeah. I recently listened back to some of that. Oh.
I have a question about that. Is that Kathy Watson? Is she Kathy Watson who runs Punk Rock Bowling?
No,
Okay.
different.
Okay, that's the homie who took care of all the
Okay.
shit. Oh, yeah, I thought I was like, she might be too young. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, different person. Okay. And then Midnight Movies, is that a band too?
That's my brother's band.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. It's so cool you guys did so many things together.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
he never played music. He was always, we always collected stuff together, and then I bought him a guitar.
Oh, you got him a guitar.
Yeah, and then I brought home this. I was hanging out with Bruce Pavitt and from Sub Pop, and Bruce was starting Sub Pop, and I was hanging out with him, and he said his whole idea for Sub Pop was going to be the Singles Club, and then
Yeah, that's
it's going to
right.
be like, and there's this new band called Mudhoney, and they used to be part of Green River. He was really into early White Zombie, and he gave me a Pixies record, and he gave me
Wow.
that Spaceman 3 Perfect Prescription record.
Okay.
And I brought that home, and my brother was like, "What the fuck is this?" and like looked at that cover, and he's playing a Jaguar, and that was it. From there,
Right.
Larry was like, "I'm gonna get that guitar," and then that was gonna be it.
And your parents was totally supportive of just trying to play music. They're like, you
Yeah.
should go to
And-
college. You should do this.
And
Yeah,
they weren't
no.
musical at all? They
No, but they were like artists,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
not like they were just free thinking artists. But I was always brought up like, well, you got to get a job, like it was a blue collar job.
Okay.
It wasn't like it was always like just a job that pays,
Yeah.
and it was like grim, really.
Well, you ended up
Oh,
working
yeah,
at-
so you were like, did I jump ahead like Microsoft?
I was going to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah, I did. I worked at Microsoft, but it was like in the factory doing
Crazy.
it with the forklift.
Right.
And I got, I got stock, and if I would have kept that, that would have made more money
Yeah.
with that than I've ever.
So you had stock back then?
Yeah, back in like 90.
Oh, my
90.
God,
1990. I know.
And how fast did you get rid of that? How long did you
Like
hold on?
right away, like
like,
right as soon as I,
this.
yeah. And then when I made a little bit of money in whole, I bought some stock in Starbucks and Microsoft, and then
Wow.
Okay.
when
All
you're
right.
an actively drinking and using person,
Yeah.
you don't. Who cares about? You just want the money, so
Right.
like you cash in.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I know you started drinking super early. So
Yeah.
when did you start trying drugs? Like how old were you?
Pretty early, like at a party, at a punk rock party, somebody's doing coke. Starts there, and I hated pot. Never liked marijuana because it didn't go good with alcohol.
I guess
for me,
not.
Yeah, Coke and alcohol goes good.
goes
supposedly.
good.
Coke and alcohol. Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
You never done
I
Coke?
was never into Coke.
You never
I'm
tried it?
completely the opposite.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I've tried it, and I was like, and I saw people on. And I was like, it's always been like, not me. I'm already a hyper person,
Me too,
naturally. So it's just like a horrible to be like soaring,
Yeah.
that strong for me. It's like,
Yeah.
my God, I'm already naturally
Right.
like this. Like, what is happening?
Nightmare.
Yeah, not good.
But I think about like the first show I played on cocaine, and it was like, oh my God, I can play so much faster, and I can, and it was so important to me to play fast
Yeah.
and play consistent,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it just dissolves, it doesn't,
You're right.
it's so fleeting, and then
Totally fleeting
it's
is a
just
good word,
fucked
yeah.
up, and so then you got to keep searching for the next thing that's gonna, you know, and I think back to that attitude I had about drums before I ever touched alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like super excited and like, I felt confident.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then playing shows and stuff became, you know, drinking and drugs and you know, it was fun. And, you know, people would always go, well, you know, your band's great or whatever, you know, and that was enough. But if I would have focused and, you know, really, like, if I didn't drink and do drugs, you know, I think I most definitely would have spent more time playing my drums and like doing something, you know, of quality. I mean, because there were some, you know, if I at a quarter of my ability on drugs and stuff, and then you know, playing, and then if I was sober, I could really give it, you know, all my, you know,
100%.
I would have been on Modern Drummer magazine. No, I'm kidding. But
No, but you were saying you only drank and partied after shows, but then that turned into being high.
Yeah, you
ever?
start to make these sort of deals and rules and boundaries, which never,
Yeah.
you know,
Only after I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Just a little bit before.
So you were going to be the original drummer for Nirvana. You were Kurt's pick?
Well, that's kind of a weird mythy story,
okay.
but there's so many.
Before Girl.
There were so many. I remember when Dan Peters from Mudhoney was playing drums, like for a few shows.
Yeah.
And he was on that Sliver. I think he played on that single. And you can kind of tell his sort of style, but and he didn't want to be in the band.
Who played on Bleach?
Chad Channing.
Okay.
And I think maybe Dale Crowe, or maybe
Okay.
not. Yeah.
I can't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then, I guess Kurt had mentioned, you know, I known him just from our bands playing together.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get a girl drummer, you know, and so
Cool.
yeah, I don't know because if you wanted me to be in the band, I would probably have been in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they saw, I think Buzz from the Melvins.
He was
said,
a roadie
you know,
for Melvins, right? Kurt was?
He's what?
Was he a roadie for the Melvins?
Yeah,
Kurt?
but
kind of?
not, yeah.
Unofficially?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, right.
But then your band played with the Melvins,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think Buzz said, check out this kid from Scream. And I remember Scream played in Tacoma when Dave was in the band at this club called Community World. And there was a big punk rock party with chili, like a bunch of chili. And I remember saying to Dave when I saw him the first time, you know, when he was in Nirvana, I said, remember when you guys, remember you guys playing that party, the Community World? It's Tacoma, just like that. And he was like, yeah. And then we both went, chili at the same time. You remember? Okay, cool. Yeah,
that's pre-internet too, so word spreading about what, like Dave Grohl being a badass drummer in the band called Scream? Okay.
Yeah. And that, well, you go to shows and like that's how I was inspired, and that's how I learned new things, was to watch other drummers and go, fuck, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Like Mac from Jesus Lizard.
Yeah,
that guy's a genius.
So good. Man,
Yeah.
that rhythm section is probably one of my favorite. Bass and
Jesus
drums.
Lizard?
Yeah.
Man, oh man, Manischewitz. That is something that still hits me. That's another one on my playlist. You're naming my playlist right now.
Yeah, and Melvins too. That was such a,
that's-
they were fast when they started, like super fast.
So-
and now then they went super slow.
Super slow.
I loved it all.
So do you actually audition for Nirvana at all? or
No. But when I moved to LA when Hole started, I lived at with Kurt and Courtney in their apartment while we were kind of trying to get a bass player and learn songs. And so we would go and just like get a space in the valley, like some hourly situation, and go play. So it was me and Kurt and Courtney would just jam. And Kurt always wanted to play the drums, so I'd always like just like flail away at the bass or something.
Right, yeah.
Was he a good drummer?
Yeah,
Wow.
he was good. And
Wow.
he's a left-handed guitar player,
Right,
so
yeah.
his strumming hand is his hi-hat hand.
All
And like
right.
maybe that
Gotcha.
has something, but he thinks in rhythmic ideas.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super genius, man.
Yeah, I live really close to the house, the other
Oh, we
place
walked
that you
there.
stayed at.
We
yeah,
went there.
I
You
showed
showed it to
Toby.
that on Hightower.
Yeah, I showed
yeah.
him that because I was
So
like, yo.
crazy
I was like,
place.
that still there, unrented,
Really?
still like in shambles.
Yeah, but I guess they just sold it or some
okay.
thing with it. But
Right.
yeah,
like that for a long
it was
time?
crazy because
Yeah,
I
it's
looked
still
at
like
those
that now.
pictures of the remnants of it,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Wow, that's my room." And that,
Right.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, when I was watching the doc, I was like,
oh, fuck.
I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah. And I
Yeah.
walked by there with some guy that wanted to see it, and he was like, I'm a huge Nirvana freak, and he was like, he wrote the entire album here in this closet. And then I was watching the doc, and I
Oh, I
was
saw
like,
that too.
yeah,
He did.
And then
Well, I
I
mean,
was like,
some of it, but I mean,
Right.
like he had a lot of songs from years before,
Right.
though, and he would like they'd always been just in his pocket, you know, keep them now. Just wait one day, I'll pull that one out.
Yeah.
But he would, if you wanted to demo, I remember him demoing something, and like Eric from Hole would come over with I think it was like maybe a 4-track and a mic and just set it up, and then Kurt would do a song, and then it was like perfection just from up, you know,
Right.
like just
Yeah.
coming out, like, and those are those rare moments.
Yeah.
I've met 2 other people like that, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like, ooh, you know.
It's very rare, but it does exist in the music scene. I've always hated those people.
Right.
I'm just like, you
I know.
bastard.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like
it
nothing
just
for
comes
them.
like so natural, you
Yeah.
know, like
from their soul.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I love it and I admire it. It's just like, damn, I've
Yeah.
never been that musician. I'm
Yeah,
always
like
I gotta
melodies
work.
just flow
Right.
through, like they're receiving it from somewhere else,
Right.
and you're like, God, I missed. My antenna doesn't tune in, whereas yours does.
Did you have to audition for Hole, or you already just got
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that weird because you're your friends or not?
Kurt called. Kurt told Courtney, she like Dylan from Earth knew where I was. I was living in San Francisco, and gave my information to Eric, and Eric called and said, "Come down and audition." So I went down and set up my drums at Jabberjaw, that club, and just started playing. You know, coming up with just jamming, and then Courtney came with Kurt, and so it's like the catch up.
So how was the audition? Like, what we're like, are we gonna play a whole song? Or?
Yeah, kind of. I think we did some stuff, but mostly Courtney doesn't like to play whole songs.
Right.
We did a Wiper song,
Wow.
and
So there's just like naming stuff like, hey, let's try this.
yeah, and then like Eric would play something, and then I would play it, and
It's cool.
but a lot of it was just talking about music and
Okay.
making connections. Like, do you like Courtney was like, you know, Tales of Terror or the Wipers, you know, like naming off
Right.
these, like, do you remember
Yeah.
the Sleepers? You know, sort of like it was a test to you.
You're like,
And I was like,
yeah,
I know Ricky Sleeper.
Checking your cred.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was
Oh yeah,
totally.
Ricky
yeah,
Sleeper,
yeah,
of course.
yeah, that kind of stuff. And then,
Right. So how
just-
that was like one day?
yeah, and then
Damn.
that night I stayed at their house, and I remember going into their apartment and kind of like it was just like a little apartment on Spalding, and you know, they were listening to that She Hangs Brightly, the you know, Mazzy Star, really into that record, and what else? I remember they'd just apparently eaten a bucket of chicken. And I remember, like, I woke up in the morning and I had a friend with me, Krista, and she's like, let's go get some coffee or something. So I wrote them a note on the top, like took the top off the bucket of chicken and went for coffee, be back, you know, set it down.
Yeah.
And then, and then they were, they didn't come out of their bedroom for a minute. So I remember knocking on the door and then hearing something and then opening it, and then Courtney going, hey, knock first or something. You know, it's like, I did. Like already off the top, it was like weird, you know, bantering. Yeah, get out of here.
But it's like we're friends. I stayed at your house. Like, do
I know.
I get the audition or what?
Or-
What's
yeah,
going
yeah,
on?
yeah.
So
there
like
was
when
no-
did you
Tell
find,
me.
Yeah.
So when did you find
She
out?
was like, stay another night and let's play again.
Okay.
And
Good
I was like,
time.
I can't because I had a day job. In San
Microsoft.
No, this was in San Francisco. I worked in a medical supply company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I drove back and basically then Courtney would call all the time. She loved talking on the landline.
Really?
All loved it. Loved the landline.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Loved it.
Oh
So
my
she would
God.
call and we would talk. And so by the end of the first week after that, I just quit the job. And then we made a plan to have me come down. And then I spoke with Janet Billick, who is the management, and you're going to get this and then you'll get that. And then in my mind, so naive, thinking, oh, I'm going to get a house with a swimming pool. You know, all this ridiculous shit. You don't get that.
Yeah.
Barely. No.
Yeah.
What I got was like, myself, I had enough money to buy a Schmidt sports pack of beer. And I had to, I didn't learn Eric was such a taskmaster. Even with the Noise record, that was the first whole record. I was like, what? You know, like really like drilling shit. But I was like in Seattle partying like a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he's like, we have work to do, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I guess it's like this.
Right.
You know,
This
no
is
idea.
serious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
So-
fucking around.
Right.
Oh wow.
Was he a sober guy? No, no.
He does, he's a dabbler and things,
Oh,
but he
yeah.
doesn't, I don't think he's got the, we're different, our
Yeah.
DNA possibly. So, yeah, and he was sort of like the business mind behind it. And,
Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Driving the whole thing, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Keeping it organized.
yeah.
'Cause you guys
So
are on your own tip, doing your own things, kind of, right?
it was, I was really, but then, then starts the resentment. Like he's the cop. And he shows up at every party, and I'm like, look, I'm trying to talk to Mark Arm right now with this beer,
Just keeping an eye on you and stuff. And
yeah, well,
singing?
he'd be like, damn it, like I'd show up the next day, we'd have, to practice, and he'd be like, and it's just me and him,
Right.
And he'd
Oh.
be like, you can't, you're sucking if you, if you have like, if you party for more than 3 days, like he would say these things
On you.
But that was his thing though,
Right.
too, was him, he took care of Courtney, who had a drug problem. He
Yes.
was always minding me, who had
I
a drug.
see.
So that in a way is
Oh,
his
right.
own drug,
Right.
No offense.
No, it was pretty normal back then to be
Wow.
doing drugs and just hanging out and just
Yeah.
making music. It wasn't like we have problems. There's something wrong with us. Like
Yeah.
we have addiction.
No one
Yeah.
ever.
Right.
But then you don't, it wasn't about partying after a while. No one was hanging out. Everybody was in their houses doing their drugs.
by themselves.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
I
Then
see.
it becomes
That's-
dangerous.
Yeah, that's
Right.
dangerous. Yeah.
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 But did you guys didn't get a high together or nothing like that? It was just on your own trip.
You know what? I never, like me and Kristen, who was our first bass player,
Yeah.
did. And I think got high with Courtney once.
Yeah.
Not, and so it wasn't like a,
Yeah.
it was such a, and in my band, it was such a secret
Yeah.
with each other. You never wanted anyone to know what you were up to.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Who had the worst problem?
Yeah. Who
Like,
did?
yeah,
Oh,
like-
oh my
no, I'm
God.
just saying, like,
oh
you
yeah.
wanna say, like,
oh yeah.
I can handle myself. or-
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how long is that from when you join to making the album?
Gosh, let's see. Started.
Live through
We,
this.
yeah,
Live through
we
this
made
is
it in
amazing.
like
I'll be back.
Go ahead.
we made it in like I think 93 and then
Yeah.
October, and so yeah, and I got in at like 92. I think I might have been in like a year and a half. And
Oh
then
wow. So
yeah.
you're just playing shows leading up to making that record
barely
stuff.
playing shows. We didn't do a whole lot because we were looking for a bass player, and then
Yeah.
Courtney had her whole other stuff going on, drama, and
Yeah.
so when we did get together, there was I would learn all the songs, but also she was writing new ones.
Yeah. Did you write some songs on that record, or was it just?
On Live Through This, I did,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's just crazy how that record came out and how it just became what it is. It's just you had no idea. Just making a record together.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and like the guys that did it were Sean Slade and Paul Coldery from, were they at Fort Apache?
Fort Apache, I
think?
heard that, yeah.
And they had just done the first Radiohead record,
Wow.
and then they were doing our record, and they were like, it's an art record, or something like, nah, they're kind of. They were great, but I'm sure they were totally like blown away by the behavior and,
Yeah, sure.
and like the antics.
Did
so-
Kurt write any songs for Hole or no?
He didn't, but people,
Okay.
there's like a lot of songs were written, like Doll Parts was pretty much written when I joined, and Violet was written. The idea of it was, but there's a song called Old Age, and we use a section of it in the beginning of, it's on the record, but there's just sort of like the beginning of it is in Live Through This as a intro to something. But that's Kurt's song. Okay. And we did that on the Unplugged. We did that song. And, and then we would do Penny Royalty live, which was so, I never agreed with that shit. I was like, fuck. Like we did this tour in Europe before we recorded, and we did, I don't even think In Utero was out. We did Penny Royalty, and I was like, fuck, we can't, what are we doing? And I think, that's all I remember doing that. But we did play a show with No Effects at a festival where me and Kristen were kind of hanging out with them. And who's the guy? Eric Melvin?
Yes.
He was kind of hanging out and like maybe talking to Kristen. And then I think me and Kristen wrote a song called No Sex with No Effects. And I think amazing. I just digitized all my cassettes. Actually have it digitally, but it was like acoustic guitar.
That is amazing.
Those guys, I remember they had a whole thing. They had like matching shirts.
Oh yeah, back then, No Effects, man. So when you're making that record, I was obviously in the doc. You talk about that you like doing crystal meth, making that album.
Yeah, because that was there. It was available.
That was available.
Yeah. It's like, well, hello.
Yeah.
Like during the making of that.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And playing it on the songs. On the record.
Well, one of them, like I remember, Courtney was like, "Let's go to New York and see Nirvana and SNL," and I was like, "Sure." Let's break out of the work. She was always pulling me out, and Eric would get mad, and so we go to New York. We see, Nirvana and SNL, and I remember totally, I was drunk. And I could barely that was so like crossed eyes basically. And, being so like afterwards thinking back on what a moment to miss kind of.
Right.
It's fucked up. And then Pat wore my Farrah Fawcett t-shirt. I remember that.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, were you like tripping on how big Nirvana was getting at that time? Were you just like, oh, this is my friends having some success? In
a way, yeah, but it was kind of cool to watch, but also not like it didn't. Some of it didn't really. Kurt wasn't so into the I don't know, that rock star posturing and stuff.
Yeah.
But also, he was still kind and like I remember watching that and watching him be himself. But also I think drugs helped him deal with a lot of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an incredible amount of attention.
Yeah.
So seems so fast.
I mean, crazy.
And it was different for us because when we made our record, it's not going to be like Nirvana. We like to remember that,
Right.
It's like we're totally different.
Right.
And that doesn't happen to everybody. We're not going to just all of a sudden be in the same,
Yeah.
Right.
Kabillionaire boat.
Right.
Yeah, it seemed like it's happened so fast with that video and just everything, man. It was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like a tidal wave.
It was weird to be like, I remember that first night staying with them and they had their bedroom window open in their bedroom and talking to them. They're both in bed and like the neighbors had like a rock radio station on and Kurt's Comes As You Are comes on. And it was such a weird moment to like hear his song. And then he's like, and it happened all the time.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
that's insane.
I mean, it's like every song was almost like a single hit, like you didn't have to buy the albums, to know the songs. Like I stopped with Bleach. That was like the last album I got.
So good.
And it's so good. I remember having it on cassette tape. And then after that, I was like, I didn't have to buy any. I knew all the songs from all the albums after that because I heard them so much.
Yeah.
Every song, A and B side, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have memories of making the Live Through This album? Or you too?
Yeah. I
good experience.
Yeah. I remember, Kristen did everything in one take. She's a genius bass player.
Nice.
She came from AmRep, like her band, Janitor Joe, was like a super rhythmic, amazing band. And
Yeah.
so, and then, me, bit of a patchwork. But I remember
Did that work with the first time real producer and everything for you?
yes, and
Okay.
like the first time that I got to like a great drum kit and
Yeah.
actual time to like tune drums. It was like, what the try out different snare drums. I
Yeah.
flipped out. I was like, well.
Here we are.
Yes, you really Ludwig Supersonic. We'll try that. Let's try that Black Beauty over here on this one, on that bridge.
Nice.
And
That's overwhelming.
And
for
you're
sure.
doing drums first, right? I take
yeah.
it. So drums
And
are
then-
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a song called Jennifer's Body, and I liked playing that one because it was just straight, really straight up for me, like where I would come from playing as a player at the time.
Yeah.
And then like Violet, it was kind of Eric's idea for the drum part, which interesting, which is the drum part for Bela Lugosi's Dead.
Yeah.
If you take that and then you put that's Violet's drum part.
Wow,
Which
I
is
know that.
interesting.
That is really
That's
interesting.
Wow.
And then, there was a lot of that idea, like where if Courtney was writing, like she couldn't get the chords out, so she would use another band as an example and
Yeah, I got
say,
you.
make it sound like,
This.
like, okay, it's going to be, I want a Lars part here for you,
Right.
Patty. And then Eric, it's a helmet guitar part, so, whatever,
Helmet's in the mix.
or whatever,
Yeah.
Right.
it was like Smashing Pumpkins, Lars. And then,
I don't know if I missed this part while I was in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Were you a part of the? So a lot of the songs are already written. You said.
She wrote some down.
Or you wrote-
Doll parts and Violet were done.
So you got
Ish.
writing credit for?
No.
No. What the? What son of a?
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason why I asked that is just because I think that's I have so many artists I've talked to.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
And I guess, if you're in the room when you're writing, like there's rules around or there's soft rules around, like if there's three people in a room
Right.
and you're all coming up with an idea,
Right.
isn't there? I don't know.
So you have
I mean, I would think so because
Yeah.
you're playing drums
Right.
and nobody else is,
Right,
and
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing that action.
Yeah.
It's like-
But it was a lot of times Courtney and I would get together and play.
right.
And so like She Walks, the punk rock
Yeah.
that was just her and I, you know.
Great song.
And then Big John from The Exploited put that fucking halftime part in it when we were in Rio.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
we went to Nirvana was recording some demos, and so we took some of their time when they
Wow.
weren't there. And Big John was their guitar tech, and so he came over
Wow.
and was hanging out, and we were like messing around with that song, and Big John put that halftime part on it.
That's
Which
fucking
was
crazy.
weird. Yeah, I love him.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Was Courtney into punk rock too? Like you
Yeah,
were?
she liked it, but I think she liked melody. You know,
Could tell.
but I think that she, might have she went to hardcore shows because guys were there or something.
So you have no writing credit on the record?
No.
What? Son
Yeah.
of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But that bums me out.
it's
Yeah.
it's a
And I'm not, and I don't know this. I don't know her. I'm saying I'm just not surprised. I don't know why. Just looking
Right.
at the outside
Yeah.
world of it.
No, well, now after
But
watching
now-
that, I'm like, damn.
But
I
that
was like,
sucks.
It's like, I bet they're not giving. That's why I
Yeah.
had to ask. I was like, maybe.
Such an incredible album, man. It's just like a fuck, man.
yeah. I mean, it's a good record, but I don't see it the way that other people see. Of
I hear
course,
you. Because you lived it. You're in it.
Yeah.
You lived
Yeah.
through it. No
That's
pun
right.
intended. So when that record comes out, that's only 4 days after Kurt
I know.
passed, right?
Oh,
What?
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
The timing is fucked.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So it's like you're still grieving,
Yeah.
obviously,
It was
and then
in
this
April. I
your
remember
first
that.
record,
Yeah.
the record comes out. It's like
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, you got a tour.
Yeah. And then Kristen dies.
Yes.
And
How
I
many
remember
months
it was the day, it was June, or it was the day that OJ went on the
Oh,
the
my.
oh,
Yeah.
with this fucking
so her
The-
death
when the white
was
Bronco.
totally gone out of
Oh, yeah. The media. Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, that's right,
Yeah.
overshadowed too. What was the time between them?
It was April when the record came out, and it was June, just that following June, April, May, June.
Damn.
And then right after that I was like, rehab.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I get out of rehab.
How long you rehab for?
Wait, no, I went into No, it goes. It was April, and then May I was in rehab.
Okay.
Then Kristen dies. Yeah.
Oh.
Because I remember I'd just gotten out of rehab. I told this story in the doc.
Yes.
I'd gotten out of rehab and I couldn't. She's like, come over, and I couldn't do it.
Nah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, man. Yeah. So you weren't sober at all when he passed either. That's right.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
we were
no.
all. Yeah. Fucked up.
Did you try to get it together to go to a funeral and stuff like that? Obviously.
A little bit, but no.
Yeah.
I remember not.
That's so
being-
heavy, man.
Yeah.
So then the record's out, and you guys have to go. Is they have a tour set up right away?
Yeah, but the first show was supposed to be Reading Festival.
Yeah,
Damn.
huge.
And
That's the first
we
show.
needed to get a bass player, and I remember we tried out a few people, and it just was so when there's a person that is your like fucking your partner,
Yeah.
and like she
Rhythm section.
she raised me up so like
Yeah.
she just put it right in my lap to like just it was so great playing with Kristen, and then not finding that, and then Kristen and then Melissa shows up. Billy Corgan was like, this is Kristen, she'll be perfect for you guys, and it worked. She was able to play the
killed
parts.
it.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like trial by fire for her. She's such a kid.
Yeah,
Shows
it
up
seems like it.
like oh
So innocent,
yeah,
young, just like
yeah.
green.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow.
And then
And
the
that
next
tour.
thing you know,
Wow. So you guys were touring for how long in that?
we left did that Reading tour. I remember trying to be clean and sober and like being on the plane and like thinking about all my sort of like my lifeline of sober people and
Yeah.
trying to keep
Yeah.
it together, and like went to a meeting in London, and and there were people around me that were supportive,
Yeah.
and then we did the Reading, and then we came back home, and we land, and we're in Cleveland to start this tour with 9 Inch Nails.
Wow.
And that was a fucking nightmare.
He's from Cleveland.
And not a big fan.
Yeah,
It
no
was
comment.
the Nautica stage.
Yeah, Nautica stage.
Do you remember
Yeah,
that
the
tour?
Flats.
You think you
Yeah,
remember
the
that?
Flats.
I don't. I don't try to keep dibs on 9 Inch Nails, but
Yeah, it was us and Marilyn Manson, and that was like an
Wow.
early Marilyn Manson where they
Massive,
didn't have
right.
like their stage setup was like
okay.
like maybe one of their dads made like an oversized piece of like a dice that had Dayglow paint on it, and like
Yeah,
it just to me that's what
it was like
that's
Ohio tour
you
because
can't
all those guys are from Ohio.
you can't
true.
you can't like have a massive like sort of stage thing or an idea of a goth production and not like really bring it, and
Right.
when you're I don't know it's not
hear you.
real that one of their dads built it, but
Possible.
and he comes out with like pilgrim shoes on and a lunchbox.
Oh, yeah, Lunchbox. That's right
Collection.
back then. Probably ponytails. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shocking back then. That was like
Yeah, but
So-
he was like like a nerdy guy, right?
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
wow.
So,
yeah, and then
Was the record hitting at that time? When you got back?
ours.
Yeah.
Eh,
Okay.
Not very
yeah,
well.
it wasn't. It was hard to figure out too because it wasn't like Nirvana really skewed it for
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like I don't know. I heard Miss World on Seattle radio station. That was like a big deal. Hearing it in my car.
Mm-hmm.
And not
Yeah.
and not knowing it was going to be on, like not calling my friend and going, "Will you play it?"
Play it.
Yeah.
Play it.
We'll play our song. It's our single.
Were your parents stoked?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my mom a lot because she
Yeah.
was like more about it.
So proud, yeah.
My dad was like, "That's cool."
Take photos.
Your mom
Yeah,
was
take
worried.
photos.
Your mom was bummed that you quit your job,
Yeah.
but obviously
yes.
it paid off.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Okay.
Wow. So that tour, that's a crazy
That
tour.
was a
That's
U.S. tour.
crazy
yeah.
lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
was like, yeah.
were you guys getting good response on that?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
and
a hard
this isn't
crowd.
shit talking. This
hard
is
crowd.
like Courtney would totally own up to this, that we landed in Cleveland to do the show, and she was she was not even conscious.
Right.
And I read a review in Spin Magazine. The guy was like, it was like watching your sister strip at a party. Yeah. It was that bad. And I was kind of like, fuck, you know.
That's wow.
That's so fucked.
Uh,
You know what's crazy?
Horrible
None
analogy.
of you guys, I know you loved each other,
Right.
but everybody's so fucked up that nobody can say like, hey, you know, you need help. Like nobody,
Right. No
nobody's
way.
trying to help
Right.
each other.
No one's going to say, well, I remember thinking in my early sobriety then on that tour, going up to her room and knocking on her door and saying, like, she wanted to like go somewhere else before our next show. And it wasn't a good idea. I forget. And I remember thinking, nobody else has ever says anything to her, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, well, I guess to evolve as a recovering person, you have to set boundaries or something, trying to make this big move, knock on the door, and I'm going to tell her, that's a horrible idea. You know, and so knock on the door, it's like, what? And I go, it's Pat. And she's like, what? And she opens the door, and I'm like, I think it's a horrible idea that you're going to go to blah, 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 to Chicago or whatever, to hang out with Blackie Onassis for a, minute before we play our next show. And she's like, really? Stop menacing me, and shut the door and was like, that's it. She still went. You know,
Right,
it was
right.
like no one could really,
Right.
if you're not with the program, then,
You're not with
so.
Yeah. You guys bump heads a lot?
No, because I think I
You
understood.
seem like a non-confrontational person.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also that's not good either.
No.
You know?
right.
Because then I just it builds up. I just
Enabling
start
each other
collecting it. And then I
Yeah.
have a fucking freak out in Houston, Texas, where I throw shit. And, there's just, it's it's just shitty because then you start to feel bad about yourself. And then
Yeah.
what feels good? I don't know, shooting heroin when you get home from tour, and yeah, so, and just to deal with all that.
Yeah. One positive thing, you were the first woman on the cover of Drum World.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
Is that true or not?
Okay. That's okay.
I try to be so positive.
No. This is good.
Okay.
Because when Courtney would say that on stage, right?
Oh, she-
and
Oh,
there,
she would-
there is no such thing. When she knew that modern drummer was the thing, and I want
You mentioned earlier,
and
yeah.
and she was like, she couldn't think of the name, and so she go Drum World, and so it's not a real magazine.
Oh my God,
And
dude.
so now I know someone's read my wiki page because
Yeah, I'm
that's
sorry.
on it.
I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Fuck you, wiki page.
I hate. I'm sorry, wiki pages. They suck.
I just
sorry.
gotta say,
I mean,
well,
people thought I
that's
was a
so excited to
people
bring
thought
that
I was a
up.
doctor from like
I was so
Illinois.
proud. I was so proud of you. That was
Oh,
like,
yeah. Thank
fuck,
you.
man.
Oh no, I've been
No.
offered. They're like, yo, so you were a doctor before you were in the band, and you're
Wow.
from Illinois.
Yeah.
Yo,
They're-
so there's
Yeah.
no magazine called Drum World?
No,
Drum World.
we've
I
heard
was
it
like-
here.
Even
Yeah.
then, I was like, Drum World.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
a
I'm-
bum out, man.
Yeah,
I
I
was so
know.
fucking
I know.
psyched for you.
Yeah,
That was like
yeah. No, but I mean, many great things have happened.
No,
The band
for sure.
has given me
No, I
since,
know.
But
There's so many nominations, so many awards, all kinds
Yeah,
of reviews.
But I love that though. That she was
Yeah,
like,
that's
yes,
it.
so Drum World.
So you're looking at the wiki, were you?
The old wiki, yes.
Ugh.
So you toured on that record for a long time, it seems.
Yeah, we
At
did
least-
like a full year, and so by the end of it, it was. Oh.
You must have been so burnt.
And then Lollapalooza with Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, which I love.
Yes.
And I
Shout out to
love
the Boss
Dickie.
Tones. Yes.
Loved
Dickie.
Dickie. I would like. We're gonna save 10 minutes just so I can talk about
It's fine.
Oh man,
I fucking love the Boss
He's-
Tones.
Me too.
they're great.
Sweethearts.
Love them.
That whole band.
Yeah.
And so I got to see them every day, and Jesus Lizard, which was great. Yeah. Funny too, the guys in Jesus Lizard.
Yeah.
Hysterically funny people. So that was kind of fun because I got to stay away from the drama of
Yeah.
that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So that was cool. But then by the end of all of it, it was a wreck. It was, and then our last big show, we get to go home and spend a little time. Of course, I indulge. I'm back on the,
Yeah.
And
Were
then
you
we
thinking
have,
in your mind like when I get home?
oh yeah,
I'm gonna
can't
be-
wait.
I can't wait. I'm
100%.
gonna be
yeah.
have it all
Yeah.
lined up.
So much
like,
that like I couldn't
Yeah,
even
right.
wait to get home. I started
Right.
in LA on the way home, like
Right.
yeah. And so we get to Seattle, and then I'm strung out. And then we had the Video Music Awards to play. And I in 95 and it was like the worst. So I call up Courtney and I'm like, I don't think we should play that show. I think it's, we don't need to.
music
We don't need to. And I convinced her and she's like, yeah. We don't. Yeah. Right. And so then she calls up Peter, our manager, and then
He's
talks
like,
to
"Are
him.
you
He's
kidding
like,
me?"
absolutely not. You're going to play the show. And that's that. She calls me. She's like, Peter says we have to. So, so we play it. And I am the worst shape I've ever been in my life. Barely, like fucked up.
Damn.
And so everybody knows it, and there's that weirdness in the band where no one's talking to anybody else, but distant, but they know what's up. And so,
were they fucked up or?
No, I mean, Courtney was, but
Okay,
like Eric's like,
yeah.
He's holding it together, trying.
Yeah.
Right?
Trying.
And I remember like we played Violet, which is a fast song right off the top. And so I could barely keep up and it was horrible. And then, Eric, at the end, Eric turns around and kicks his mics and then his amps, and then a mic hits me in the face, and then there's a whole thing. And then I get off the stage and I'm going through this crowd, and I'm all of a sudden not with anybody, which I didn't want to be. And I'm wandering, and all of a sudden behind, it's Radio City Music, I'm in this crowd of people, and I look over, and it's Michael Jackson wearing a mask, right? And because he was there that night, right? And he was like surrounded by his people, and I was like, I walked right into the middle of it, and I was like, oh, and it was freaky, and there's, because that was the night him and Lisa Marie, we are in love.
Oh my God, it's like, sure you are.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just kind of wandering around going, what the fuck? And there was a lot of like, we had to do all this press stuff, and I just said, fuck this, grabbed my stuff, went back to the hotel, like running out through the crowd. And I remember Liv Tyler, I remember being so fucking upset and angry and sick, and then walking out and like trying to get out of there. But she was sitting down in the like third row, and I saw her on the way out, and I was like, she was so hot that I made a moment I like came out of it for a second. And I was like, oh, ooh. And then I was like back to myself, running out, like get a cab and like out the,
Did you know you fucked up and you played bad?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Fuck.
So, yeah. So then, that was the night that Courtney threw the compact at Madonna, and it was all on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bad.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But so at this point, the record's doing good at this point. It's a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's
Okay.
okay.
It's selling, rotation,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
I mean,
not that
it
you
was
cared.
platinum, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
That's
big
great.
record, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're like in your world, you don't give a fuck. You're just
No.
fucking surviving.
No.
You're trying to survive.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
And how long was that break until they're like, all right, let's go back in the studio and
Years.
It was years between that celebrity.
I mean,
skit.
yeah,
That's right.
because she was doing acting, and
Oh, that's
it wasn't
right,
really
yeah.
a priority,
I see.
That's right. She was
And then
doing...
it wasn't for us to write songs was not easy. Never. I get, since being in Hole and then working with other bands and seeing how songs are written, I'm so like, whoa, okay, it's a whole different thing,
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Damn.
someone will bring a song in, or, it was always like the hardest, pulling teeth, recording everything.
I'm sure.
So just
So
to
there
get
was like
together.
a huge gap.
Yeah.
So
it was,
how long? Like
that was like, 95 we were done. And then it was 96, 97. Yeah, 2 years, I think.
okay.
Did you have to work at all? You were good.
What were
I
you
was
doing?
okay.
Okay.
I got some money from, from Lollapalooza, from live, playing live shows.
Yeah.
So me and Melissa moved to Silver Lake and lived.
You had a
And
side
then-
project too, right?
Yeah, we just kind of fucked around. And then it like, somebody like Randy Kay from, he was originally at Slash, but Warner Brothers called us the Flea and Anthony because we were at every show. Well, what else do we have to do?
Just
So-
hanging out, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then so we would just jam together and stuff.
Yeah, she was doing movies. She did the Flint
Yeah, People versus Larry Flint.
with
Yeah. With
Woody Harrelson.
yeah. And Edward Norton was in the mix too, right? For a
Yeah.
second. That's right. That's
And
right.
then they got together.
That was another movie or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's doing that. Nobody's even talking to each other, kind of at that point.
No. And,
Damn.
I'm in Seattle, and then we went to LA, and I got clean. I was in LA.
Okay.
Awesome.
And yeah. So there was lots of those moments of sobriety,
Right.
and then, but not really doing much to work on stuff in myself. So, other things come up like, women, or, just other things to feed that need,
Yeah.
to the ego or the insecurity, all
Yeah.
the stuff.
Right.
And being in a band and then getting, people, coming up to you and saying, whoa, you're the greatest band or blah, blah, blah. That stuff feeds you. But then you go home and you're like,
Yeah.
like, because I'm not doing anything to feel like that. I don't feel like a great gal.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And what was the spark that
I was gonna say
set it off?
the
okay,
final.
let's go back into this. Let's write some more stuff.
Yeah,
Like
that
what-
was, I guess it was, like the point was, I think the label was like, we need to bring us a record.
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Yeah. And, yeah. And, Courtney was done with her movie stuff.
Right.
So everybody was settled down in LA and, we had some song ideas. And so we just started working on stuff. And, Melissa and I had some ideas that we'd been working on. And so we contributed. And then Courtney's she steps outside the band and asks Billy Corgan to help. Right. And that I think was like a rift with her and Eric because they were partners in songwriting.
Yeah.
But
And you're
she
sober
wanted-
at this point, right?
Yeah.
And making a record first time with them sober.
Yes.
Kind of. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and Eric didn't want Billy involved, and
Right.
so anyway,
that's
so they start writing. I get strung out again.
Damn.
Go into rehab, and then Courtney's like sending me the cassettes of stuff they're working on with Billy, and then I get out and go into rehearsal, and start kind of playing to their ideas. And Billy was really encouraging and great, and I liked working with him.
Okay.
And then I don't know if it was like management as much because they were kind of the machine.
Yeah.
Or, I think they might have pitched Michael Beinhorn to Eric and Courtney. And so they went with him. And he was like the notorious, I'm going to,
Right.
ditch the drummer. And like he did it to the
Yep.
Soul Asylum
You
guy.
guys bumped heads and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did it to the Korn guy.
Damn.
Oh, damn. Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And later on,
That drummer's, I'm trying to remember who was drumming then in
Go ahead.
Korn.
And Korn, it was the
Silver? Or,
the
first guy.
Yes,
Yes.
he was great. And then now it's
oh, he left, yeah.
yeah, but now it's the greater guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
He's sick.
He's sick.
He's
Sick.
sick, man.
Whoa.
Sick drummer, bro.
So that's when you pretty much quit, though, right? During that process.
Yeah. Well,
right?
it was like that battle between and
That was fucked up.
but he'd
That's
already
so fucked.
like at the beginning of like I'm starting to do my first, start to record my first parts, and then he already had his guy at some fucking hotel,
Right.
But
so shady.
and so I was like, okay, and then
That's so fucked.
right.
you
and
found
then-
that out later?
Yes,
or you,
yes,
yeah, later.
because the guy that was the teching knew that was going on, and he later on told me. So after that, I was like, fuck
that.
you guys,
Yeah.
and then was really into like just tell big fuck you to the band, and
Right.
like me going out and shooting dope is gonna get them.
Right.
That's
I'll
your
show
thinking.
them.
That's
Right.
so
I'm gonna
crazy.
get you.
Yeah, this is it. I'm gonna shoot drugs in the in
you'd
the
wrote-
tall grass on the corner of
So you wrote some
the
songs. You wrote
Pollo
some-
Loco.
You wrote some songs on there, on that record.
Yeah, like me and me and Melissa came up with like Use Once and Destroy is like a really kind of a heavier sort of drum and bass thing, and then Awful was built on a shuffle part that I did on the snare, and then it became they took it out, they eliminated it, but it was built on that, like the idea.
So do you like that record? When you listen to it?
Nah.
Okay, I want to keep it 100 then, so we're gonna be
Yeah.
honest here. My wife's a massive fan. Grew up on Everything Whole, and then that record came out. I'll never forget. My wife bought it, and we listened to it in the car, and she was so fucking bummed that she threw it out the window in the street, and because I'm not dissing her. I'm just saying
Yeah.
how overproduced. How,
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
And my makeup. And all
Yeah, I know
stuff.
that one.
It was catchy though.
I know, but that one I was shocked, and I couldn't handle it. I was like, no, I can't accent. I can't. I mean
Right.
that alone, but then you want me to like hit the cymbals on those parts? No.
Right.
So that song, when I heard that, my wife's like, "Oh my god," because she still loves today. Like she loves the band. But when I heard that, I was like, she was like, "What is this? What's going on?"
Yeah, I think Courtney wanted to evolve. And
That's
like,
no diss to you at all.
No.
No diss to
The
you.
idea was to be like, Fleetwood Mac or, and it was a mistake. It was,
Right.
Wow.
I guess she showed up for that record though, it like
She went for it.
lyrically, like she showed up when she was supposed to, she worked hard and Eric did too.
Right.
And it, but it was hard for me to, to have that conversation about,
Yeah,
And I remember Green Day was recording too. And I remember Trey Cool going, we just did this, kind of like I don't know, sort of a ballad, and it's a new idea. And it was that song that everybody,
these lonely streets.
yeah, no. It was the one about graduating and everybody uses it when they graduate. What's that one?
God.
Which one is that?
Another big ballad too, though. But
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
But I know but this one was earlier.
But that
Right,
worked for
right.
them too. Didn't it work?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Or it's like goodbye. It's
Oh,
a
yeah. Fuck.
Didn't they use it on a
I know exactly
Seinfeld
what- yeah.
episode?
I already thinking about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're
But
talking
it was
about.
that
though.
song.
Wow.
And I was
Yeah, we
like,
went
oh.
for it. We did a ballad, basically. right?
Yes.
Wow. That was kind of the move back. I mean, obviously, so was that record, think she wanted to make it huge and just that was the goal
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the team around it.
Yeah,
right? They
it
were
was a
like,
big-
let's make this happen.
Yeah, like
I
we're
can
gonna.
imagine that.
Damn.
Yeah, because our management was like they did Def Leppard, AC/DC. Like it was like this,
It's
like
like, Def
oh,
Leppard, okay.
Metallica, and we're gonna step into the. And I guess that tour was a bit in that sort of realm of,
Right.
and like Melissa, after nowadays when we talk, she's like, oh yeah, Patty missed the arena rock tour where they had wardrobe and stuff. And I was
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, it was Crack Heroin Island.
So
Yeah, I was enjoying my own thing.
also crack.
You guys are fine.
Did you get writing credit on that record?
Oh yeah.
And that's the one they didn't like. Okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
But on
Interesting.
Live Through This, like I get sales.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Sound Exchange.
Right.
That
Yeah.
stuff.
But I think there's also a thing like what's it called? Not mechanical rights, or it's like when you
Probably some
actually
mechanicals
physically like played on.
Yeah, isn't that Sound Exchange kind of?
Maybe.
You're
I think
physically.
so.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different things that
But you
artists
have
can
to be-
collect on. Especially
Fill me
you,
in. Do
I
tell.
think. We can talk about it later.
All
but
these
I think-
Spotify numbers people are posting too. It's
Oh,
like, bro,
man.
imagine if that was money. Like,
Right.
I mean, fuck.
It's so different.
drives me crazy.
So, what year do you get sober? Finally, what year is that?
2005.
2005.
And that was after even Juliet, and I did the
Yeah,
same.
you played the record with my
Yeah,
brother Todd.
That's what I was gonna say.
I did the
you guys
same
meet
kind of
each other
stuff
because of that.
in
Yeah.
that
That's
band.
when we met.
Yes.
Because when I was going through the list, I was like,
Yeah.
this is the connect.
Yes.
Right.
So you guys met because you played with
Yes.
My
Juliet
brother,
and the
yeah.
Liz.
Yeah. Well, we met at producer. What's his name?
Matt Wallace.
Yeah, we met at his house.
That's right.
Or like a
He produced
breakfast
our
or
record.
dinner
He
or
produced our Go
something.
record, our major label record.
Yeah.
The
Where
one
people
that,
hated us. So that one, that's the one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt Wallace. That's right.
Yeah.
So you met there, and then how did you get into Juliet and the Licks? Like,
Through Linda Perry.
Yes, she's the connector.
Yeah.
and who's Linda
So-
Perry?
She's written every song in the freaking world. Pink, everything. Look her up later.
All right, okay.
Ill producer, ill songwriter.
Yeah.
Correct.
Gwen Stefani. She's another one of those people
Mm-hmm.
that is like, bam. She's like, stuff just flows out of
Right,
her.
right.
Incredible writer,
You know,
man.
it just is crazy. And like when she worked on a solo record with me and Courtney, and it's like not a
that's
good
right.
time,
That's
but
my thing.
some songs came out of it.
Yeah.
But Linda would sit down with like a punk rock riff that like maybe my brother had, and then she would do some shit on the piano, and like just naturally it would, she would do the natural, part to it that she,
Right.
and it was like, oh, that's what the Stooges would do, and it's like she just knows,
she knows.
but she
I love
doesn't
that.
know. No,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
America's Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh, that was right. That was a solo record.
Yeah.
So, but Julie Lewis, I think Julie Lewis besides being an incredible actress, is an incredible front woman. Like
I know.
She's a badass, man.
Yeah.
She's a great
That's
performer.
another the kind of people that can do more than one thing good.
True.
True.
True. She's.
Were you surprised? Did you have any expectations of how she'd be as a singer? Because she's an actress?
I kind of thought, well, if Linda was working with her and they were doing stuff and there was so much
Legit.
respect, between them that, So I listened and I really liked it.
Incredible
Yeah.
performer, incredible everything. Like, she did a 6-song EP, right? The first EP with them or something?
Yeah.
And my brother was there. My brother was in the band.
Todd.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Where'd you guys record that one? Do you remember?
We did, I think, with Linda at her studio.
Okay.
We used to call Todd Toddler.
That's a different nickname.
He was so funny. That guy is so funny, and
Morse
I
funny.
loved working with him. And
That's
then we
amazing.
did the Warped Tour. He
That's
kind of
right.
was like sort of like my guide to the whole thing. Like,
He's done it before.
Right.
Right.
And then he was also like, he explained it to me. It was a whole different vibe.
Right.
Then, like there's the barbecue band and they have to, they do the barbecue. It's just filled me in on everything.
He's a
Todd
trip,
had
man.
a different nickname in H2O by all the fans. Was called Todd God.
Oh.
That's what they called him
well.
back then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now he's in the Offspring. I'm so happy for my brother,
Yeah.
by the way. It's amazing.
Yeah. I ran into him. Weird. I didn't expect it, but Faith No More is playing in Europe, and it was like 2008, I think.
Yeah.
And I went to see Faith No More play, and then there's Todd, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I play guitar in Offspring."
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now he's the bass player of Offspring. It's fucking,
yes, because now.
the original guy's out, and now Todd's
Right.
the original a
Yeah.
full-time member.
Does he like
Yeah,
playing
Todd.
bass?
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
Cool.
It's something different for him. He started playing bass at 50. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I love that.
It's awesome.
Of course he can do it. Come on.
How
Yeah.
long was the licks for? How long have you been that for?
Yeah, I was there 2004, maybe like a year.
Okay.
Yeah, before shenanigans on my behalf. You know.
So are you sober during Juliet and then go
A
back?
little bit, yeah. And then, yeah.
What was the final straw? Like, this is it. I'm never doing this shit again. Was there anything?
That was right around the end. Like Juliet was like, "See ya."
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was fall of 2004, and it went really bad. Things went really bad fast, and
like the worst they've ever been. Rock bottom.
yes, I mean, I was like one step to being homeless again, and it wasn't, so, it was March. I went into, it was like 2005, January, February. Things were bad, and then I reached out to a friend, and she and my brother took me to rehab, and I stayed there. And the different part of it was that I stayed there, but I had nowhere to go after. So I had to go to sober living and I had to live with other people,
okay.
other women, and like follow the rules and be humble. And, it was for the first time, there was no safety net.
Right.
There was just, that
Reality.
was it. Yeah.
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 Right.
And I was in the Valley, and I was with some women in NA that were getting clean that were fucking badasses. And it was like, whoa, okay, I totally, like, it, women that were giving me, this is how it is. And I respected that. And like, it's,
Love that.
yeah. And so I just started just listening and doing things different.
Right. And any of these rehabs I saw in some movie or whatever, a show where they had a rehab and a person was trying to get sober and there was a person there that was giving them drugs, like selling drugs to them.
Oh,
Does that happen?
God, I wish it did, really. Never.
I was like,
Not when I was there.
okay, because I was
Happened
like,
on Celebrity Rehab,
yo,
though. I've seen
Yeah.
that on Celebrity Rehab doing
Yeah.
that.
That's
Some cats in
that's
there, yeah.
so.
And it's the worst thing to be high in rehab.
Yeah,
That's
I would
the
think
worst.
so.
I mean,
I think
God.
somebody like, yo, you're totally
Yeah,
fucking
fucked up.
high.
And like you're with. Okay, we have a saying. It's like you can't shit a shitter.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody's like, "Oh my God, we know what's up with it." And you're so fucked. You like addicts are so like we think that we can like
Right.
fool everybody, and everybody knows. Come on.
No, that would be the
Yeah.
absolutely worst place, I would think, to be
Yeah.
high.
Well, don't people do like all the drugs they have in their body before they go in? They come in
Yes.
high off the
Yeah,
joint?
I do.
okay.
One
Like
last
you-
high.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. But then I remember that last time I was like trying to get high, and it was like, did I get some kind of bad drugs this morning? Because it just stops. It's like you get so stressed that you're like, it's not enough. This is my last time, so I got to really get messed up, and it just wasn't enough. And I was like,
Did you have some scary, like, close to death overdose moments?
yes, yeah. There was,
Couple times?
I've had, friends throw you in the shower and all that. We didn't have that,
Narc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing where you shoot up and
Yeah.
you're like immediately awake. Like,
Oh,
yeah, like an adrenaline.
So scary, even those scary moments still didn't wake you up from stop doing it.
No.
And even being
And
homeless.
girlfriend
too.
OD'd in front of me, and what did I do? We get her to the hospital, and then like, that dope's great. I'm gonna do some in the bathroom, like
Oh
that.
my God.
And
dude.
yeah,
And were you getting high while you're homeless in the streets?
yeah, that's the whole reason. That's
Right.
why you're there. Why?
Where were you sleeping?
There was like a corner like place where there, just in the anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
And that was for a couple of years?
No, like like
year?
a year, and then
year's long
kind
enough.
of
A day is long
around.
enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's after all the whole thing. That's
Yes.
fucking crazy,
Yeah.
man. I
Yeah.
just feel like, I'm sure people try reaching out to you, trying to save you and find you.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
off the grid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has there been one person that's stuck by this whole time through everything?
My brother.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are
Yeah.
so close.
He got clean in 96.
Oh, okay.
So, but we were using together in Seattle the whole,
And your parents, were they tripping?
Yeah. My mom was like, she had to accept it. Like, she would give me money sometimes, but then towards the end, last few, she was like,
Like, nah.
don't come here and don't, come here to get clean.